Hi everyone. So we were studying about the missions and the probes which have been sent by the NASA. So in the list, the next one is the Chandra X-ray Observatory. Now the Chandra X-ray Observatory was named after the Indian-American astrophysicist Subramaniam Chandrasekhar. Now it was an X-ray observatory to study the X-ray sources such as stars, galaxies, supernova, black holes. So it will study the X-ray sources by the stars, galaxies, supernova, black hole, etc., and to study the hot objects inside it of stars. So this is what is basically for study of stars and galaxy. Then the next one in the list is basically the SOHO. The SOHO is basically a short for the Solar and the Heliospheric Observatory. So Solar and Heliospheric Observatory. Now it was a joint project between the European Space Agency and NASA. The main goal is basically to study about the sun, because we have said the heliosphere. The helio itself means the sun. So it will study sun from its deep core to the outer corona. From deep core to its outer corona, including solar winds. Now mark this thing important, because when we study the Aditya only studied about the corona, right? But here the SOHO, it is studying the deep core to its outer corona and the solar winds. So this is a basic difference between both of them. The third one is the LASCO. The LASCO is basically an instrument in the SOHO spacecraft. So you can write this thing as it was an instrument of SOHO spaceship, and it is basically a telescope which has been designed to block light coming from the solar disk. So what instrument it is? It is basically a telescope which will block light, right? So this is about the LASCO. The next is basically the New Frontiers program. The New Frontiers program was actually aimed at exploring the solar system and various missions have been under this. So the first mission was actually the New Horizons. The next one is basically the Juno, and similarly the Osiris Rex, Dragonfly. So yeah, New Horizon was for the Pluto, the Juno was for the Jupiter, the Osiris Rex was for the Bennu. Bennu was actually an asteroid, which is basically, the coming closer to the Earth. It has been designated as a potentially hazardous risk, because if it strikes, then Earth won't be there. So that's what the Bennu is. And the last one is the Dragonfly. The Dragonfly is basically a lander mission to the Saturn's Titan. So the Titan mission, Titan for Saturn. So these are the few of the missions which are under the New Frontiers program. The next one we talk about is the New Horizons. The New Horizon, as we have said, it is for the Pluto. Basically, it was the first mission to explore the solar system region beyond the giant planets, what was in the Kuiper belt itself. So basically, the beyond Kuiper, Kuiper, Kuiper belt. Now basically the Kuiper belt is basically, there are the few Jovian planets and the few are the solid planets. The Jovian planets are basically gaseous planets which basically occur after the giant planets. So the Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and when you cross the Mars, there's a Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So all these things which separates the basically a solid and the gaseous, there's an asteroid belt in between them. So the Kuiper belt is the one of them belt. Now the Ultima Thule here Let me write it from this pen. Ultima, some call the Thule or some call the Thule, the Ultima Thule, is basically a small rocky and icy trans-Neptune planetesimal in the Kuiper belt. So it's a rocky body actually, more like, and it has been recently encountered in the New Horizon mission. And another one which has been, that's called the Aroth, Arrokoth. It has been also encountered in the New Horizon mission, and this is a primordial body in the Kuiper belt. So this is a planetesimal and thus will help us understand the early solar system and its origin. So there are two things we have discovered, the Ultima Thule and the Arrokoth. Both of them are planetesimal rocky object that we have found. Next one is Dragonfly. Dragonfly is basically the lander mission to the Saturn, Titan. It is a moon of the Saturn. So this is mainly about this. And if we talk about the characteristics of the Titans, then the Titan is basically the nitrogen based atmosphere. It has nitrogen based atmosphere, and the clouds and the rain is of the methane. So the cloud and the rain is of methane. So this is mainly about the Dragonfly itself. The next one in the list is our Discovery program. Now the Discovery program, it is a series of the solar system exploration mission, like the New Frontier itself. And it is a faster, better, cheaper planetary science missions of the NASA. So we can write it here that these are the solar system exploration missions, and the important discovery it has made, or important discovery missions of missions like Lucy is one of them, the Psyche is one of them, DAVINCI is one of them, the TRIDENT is one of them, etc. We'll read about them. So the Lucy was the first space mission to study the Jupiter's Trojan asteroids. So it is for the Jupiter's Trojan asteroids, right? So basically the Trojan asteroids, basically the combined gravitational effect of Sun and the Jupiter capture asteroid at two locations outside the asteroid belt, which is called the stable Lagrange points. These asteroids actually, they trapped at the Jupiter's Lagrange points, are called the Trojan asteroids. Now you're gonna ask me that Himanshu, what is basically the Lagrange points? So let's see this first, and let me draw it here. Suppose this is Earth, sorry, not this is Sun, right? This is Sun, and this is somewhere I can say an Earth. Now there are actually 4 such points, I would say, not 4, there are actually 5 such points where the gravitational force of the Sun and the Earth counter each other, which means balancing each other. Similarly here. So these are those main points. This is one of them, this is one of them, here, and this. So this is L1, this is L2, this is L3, this is L4, this is L5. So these are the 5 such points where the gravitational force of the sun and the earth is equal. They counter each other, they balance each other, and such points are basically called the Lagrange points. So these are basically what we call as a stable points actually. So what we have discussed in the case of the Jupiter, that there exist such places. Now what I have just explained regarding the Trojan asteroids was, now you maybe understand it better, that the combined gravitational effect of the Sun and the Jupiter captures certain asteroids at two locations outside the asteroid belt, which is called stable Lagrange points. So just if you imagine this as a Jupiter, this is the Sun, there are few other points like these one. Now we have found the asteroids there instead of in their asteroid belt. So they are like two different, right? Now these asteroids which are trapped in these Lagrange points are called the Trojan asteroids. I hope you can understand this thing. So here if I found certain asteroid, this is what we call as a Trojan asteroid. So this is what the Lucy does. So Lucy was the first space mission to study such asteroids, Trojan asteroids. So I think it's pretty much important and we should know these things. The next one is PSYCHE. Now the PSYCHE, it is a NASA's mission to explore the origin of the planetary core by studying the metallic asteroid PSYCHE. Now this is interesting because the PSYCHE is the heaviest known metallic asteroid. So PSYCHE is a metallic asteroid, and heaviest, and because it has its whenever a planet dies or sun dies, its core get exposed, and sometimes it's very unique conditions, the core is made up of the iron. So here in the PSYCHE we have found one such object in which its core is basically made up of the iron. So basically the PSYCHE is a mission. PSYCHE is also name of that asteroid actually, and the NASA mission also named PSYCHE itself so that they can study this thing. So this is what the first mission to study the metallic core of an asteroid. The next is DAVINCI. Now DAVINCI was basically the proposed atmospheric probe to Venus. So it is basically proposed, it has not been done yet. Proposed atmospheric probe to Venus. Now short for the deep atmospheric Venus investigation of the noble gas chemistry and imaging. You don't have to remember this whole world, but the main aim is to study the chemical composition of the Venus atmosphere. That's it, nothing else. And the next is basically the VERITAS. The VERITAS is basically again for the Venus itself, to study basically the topography and the spectrographic mission, and to get a high resolution pictures of its surface, etc, etc. This is regarding this thing. The TRIDENT is basically the mission to study the Neptune's largest moon, that is basically the Triton. So this is to study Neptune's largest moon, that is basically Triton. So to study the Triton we have a mission TRIDENT. The next one is basically the Parker Solar Probe. That is the first ever visit to the star, that is basically the sun itself. That is 6.2 million kilometers to the sun, at its closest approach. So study sun. So it is a robotic spacecraft probe out in the outer corona of the sun. So right outer corona. So it is fly by the sun's inner atmosphere in order to trace the energy flows through the corona. The next one in the list is PSYCHE mission. Now the PSYCHE mission, it is a NASA's mission which basically aimed to understand the transition of particles from the sun outer corona to the solar wind that fills interplanetary surface. Now this is basically concept of the solar winds that we're gonna study in the later chapters. That in very layman terms you can remember this thing, that when there is a sun has a corona, there are certain radiations it emits. Now these radiations sometimes becomes very high, which basically in turns take a form of a solar winds. Now the PSYCHE mission actually studies such solar winds. That fills the interplanetary surfaces. So it will have a constellation of the 4 microsatellites. So 4 micro satellites will be there, and it will be launched in 2022. So this is what it is about. Then the Hubble Space Telescope. This was basically the made by the NASA and European Space Agency, and it is the largest multi-wavelength space telescope yet. Let me write it here. The largest multi-wavelength telescope yet. And it has been, and this is not on the ground, so it's not necessary that every telescope is on the ground. No, it is basically in the 600 kilometers above the Earth's surface. So in, you know, it's in Leo, 600 kilometers. So this is what it is, an aperture mirror 2.4 meter, I think, and that's good to go. So let's pause here, and we'll continue the rest of the missions in the next lecture. Thank you.